Yeah, man. What is up, my purples? Everybody in the place to be. Good to be seeing you in here again. Today is a very special day, per usual, because we got the OPZ here, and I'm about to do a little review on it. I was sleeping on it for the longest time because I thought it wasn't for me. It looked a little bit more like something for techno heads. I was skeptical about not having the screen, and I got the impression that it was a step sequencer. But I didn't do my research. I was sleeping on it for a long time until my pelvic floor hurt from sleeping on it. It was a little bit on the expensive side for my personal budget, being a student of a data analyst and all. But thanks to the lovely chap FUSEPS, he cut me a very generous deal where I could buy this and trade him a little bit of LSDJ with backlight screens on the Game Boy. Thank you so much for that, man. I still owe you one. Hope to see you at Disneyland or Nam. So in this review, I'm not going to specify every single little detail that the OPZ has because there are many reviews out there, but rather I just a little take on it from my perspective, coming from a hip-hop production background. What do I like about it and what do I don't like about it? Let us have a look at it, shall we? First of all, let me talk about the sequencing. One of the things I was first skeptical about. The sequencing on this is actually amazing with a couple of minor setbacks. We have 8 tracks to work with here. 4 intended for drums and percussion, things of that nature, and 4 intended for synthesizer sounds. You can record in real time without quantizing. Something I was fearing would be hard to do, but you can actually do that. And up here you have the step sequencer that you can instantly edit your stuff on. You can have more than one bar too. That's just the default setting. You can have up to, so we have 8 tracks for instruments, but we also have 8 tracks for different effects and stuff like that, which you can record automation onto. It works kind of like scenes in Machine. It's gonna loop according to the longest bar in the pattern, right? So if we have 4 bars on the kick pattern right here and 2 bars on the snare pattern is gonna loop after 2 bars. And it's going to consider itself a complete loop after looping the 4 bars, if that makes sense. So you're not stuck to 1 bar here. You can set it to any different length, and it's just going to loop the shorter ones according to the longest length of the loop. Might sound a little strange, but if you worked with Machine or any other pattern loop-based sequencer like that, it's going to make perfect sense for you. One problem and a difference here with the Machine comparison is that you can't start off with 1 bar and then double it and have a direct copy of it, doubled copy, you know what I'm saying? Like have a 1 bar of a kick pattern and then double it so you have 2 bars of the same to make variations that way. You need to decide beforehand that it's going to be 4 bars rather than 1, because otherwise it's going to half the timing of it. If I put 1 kick here and 1 kick here and then I double it, the kick is going to end up there. So it slows it down in half speed, if you catch my drift. Please fix this. After you recorded your shit in real time, you can also use this step grid right above it to edit those notes. Move notes around in micro timing increments, shift the velocity of a particular note, or move all of them 1 step to the right or left, change the note, Everything like that is very smooth and quick for jotting down your sketch and getting going with a beat really quick. Recording automation on it is radically easy. All you do with whatever parameter you want to record, you just hold rec, move it, and there you go. You recorded your automation. Simple as that. Synthesizer engines, you have 7 different engines, kind of like on the OP1. All of them have that signature teenage engineering, cheesy, in a good way type of sound, for better or worse, mostly better. I would love to see a regular ass synthesizer on there. Just an engine that's a more traditional type of synthesizer, like these first 2 parameters could be the waveform, for instance. You got a triangle, square wave, sine wave, something like that, and the second one the same thing, and you can blend those 2 together. It would make for a condiment to the bread and butter, so to speak. It would make it a go-to machine much more often. Much as I love the teenage engineering synthesizer sound and what you can do with it, it does kind of pull toward a certain sound that's hard to get away from sometimes. I know other people would love that too, so please consider it teenage engineering. You would think that 8 tracks sounds a little bit limiting, but I find that there's never a shortage of filling out the sonic space when you're making beats on the OPZ. It's like they took the average perfect amount of what you need to make a complete production. Obviously, with the sound capabilities on it and what you can do with it sound wise, you're not going to go off making symphonic orchestral pieces or stuff like that, but it works perfectly fine for when you want to get a foundation going and lift it into your computer and keep building on something more advanced. Or most of the time you can make pretty cool productions here, all in the box, on the go, on the portable. Also, with the amount of sounds you can have in here, I think it's perfect for not getting stuck in picking and choosing what to go with. You just go ahead and you make a banger right away. You finish it up, you're done. Once you fill up the whole storage on this one, you can back it up, dump it, clear out all the sounds and replace them with some new ones, and then just finish off, make 10 or so more new beats, you know what I'm saying? It is a little on the small side to be playable, but it works perfect for when you're sequencing stuff. If you really want to bust one out, you can connect a MIDI controller such as this and be on your merry way. Actually, a very palatable standalone combo. You're supposed to be able to sample through the audio jack here. And the reason why that's supposed to work, even though it only has one output here, is because it takes headsets. So using a splitter like this, it seems to be a little bit hit or miss. For some people, it works to plug one of these in and plug your input into the microphone jack here. For me, of course, it didn't work. I know Briggsy on the Black Hole Discord made it work with an iRig interface. I would like to be able to do it through here. As of now, I'm using it the way that Teenage Engineering intended it to be used, which is with the USB cord included. It is very simple. You get excellent audio quality just by plugging the USB into your computer or your phone and sampling from it. It just works instantly. But say if I wanted to sample something else like the ELZ1 or a turntable, that's a little bit more cumbersome. I made this beat sampling a PS1 game holding the internal mic to the TV. As you can hear, I had to fuck it up good and make it sound like it was nasty on purpose. But the mic is really good for what it is. Gotta give it up for my buddy Steven Spielberg, Dirty Spiel, Jurassic Fantastic, Stepdad Steve for putting me onto Dark Cloud. Another cool feature I really like about the OPZ is that you can record audio into your computer via USB, something you couldn't do on the OP1 neither. So you get perfect sound quality. The output seems to be a bit noisy and buzzy, especially when you're charging with the USB cable connected. But you get none of that if you record your pure audio from the OPZ with the USB cable using the OPZ as an interface. Brilliant feature that I like, because the noise issues with this is more or less the same as with the OP1. But you don't have to deal with that when you're using the USB connection. So I think it's pretty genius. Another setback, which is mostly good but also bad, is that there's no universal master mixer for all the tracks. All the parameters are independent for each pattern that you make in one project. So if you make a whole beat with say 10 different patterns, and then you go change the volume on pattern number 6, for instance, it is going to be changed only on pattern number 6. And the only way to get around this is to copy the pattern settings one by one, and it's going to copy all of the parameters to wherever you want to copy them to, whichever pattern you want to copy it to. And it can be kind of cumbersome, kind of a pain in the ass. I see where they're going with this, and it's good in many occasions. Other occasions it is not so much good. It's many cool for easily getting some variation in there, just hopping to another pattern, switching some parameters around, and you don't have to worry that any of the other patterns are going to be affected by it. But having a mixer that's universal for the whole project would also make it so much easier in the finalizing process, the mixing process once you have a full beat, tracking out, and also live performing when you have several patterns chained, because it becomes a little bit messy. Sometimes when you're overdubbing, I've noticed also that it kills off the note before it a little too early. I think it's only when you have patterns that are longer than 1 bar for some reason, and in those situations it makes it make more sense just to record like the whole pattern over again. Minor little detail that's been bugging me. I presume it has something to do with the resolution that the numbers assistants are calculating. And it seems like you can't record pitch bends for some reason. Correct me if I'm wrong. It comes with the app for iPhone, and rumor has it that an Android version is coming soon too. A little bird whispered through the grapevine. It's great for programming that muscle memory. Eventually you won't even need it. Just practice with the screen and then you'll know how to do everything even without the screen. But regarding the app design, the UX, the user experience, user interface, they could have changed the background color or theme for each engine. Make some more subtle changes in the visualization to quickly give the eye more impact and be able to distinct the synth engines, for example. But I know my long lost close friend Freddie Mercury would have loved this even without the app. Would also be very nice to be able to skip around in a pattern somehow. I don't know if this is something I missed, so again, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're playing a pattern that's 2 bars long, it's alright to wait for it to go around before you punch in and you're gonna overdub something or layer something or add something onto it. But when it gets longer than that, like 4 bars, you kind of wish you had some transport functions or a way to loop a specific section of the pattern. That would be fucking brilliant. Now, granted, I have not read the manual. That's not how I does it, but there might be a way to do that already, so don't take my word for it. Sometimes it's nice to work with patterns that are a little bit longer, especially considering there's no master mixer and that you have to copy pattern settings between patterns individually, like I just explained before. But all in all, I love the sequencing on this. It's very quick, very intuitive, very easy, and I also love that the sequencing is non-destructive compared to the OP1, where you had to dedicate yourself to an idea once you laid it down, or you had to move around pieces of tape left and right to make sure you don't fuck things up. All in all, amazing. Of course, the design is pretty flawless if you're into these kind of aesthetics. And I also like the different grips they seem to have thought of.
Microphone, pitch bend TV remoter, Game Boy, regular, etc.
I think my good friend Quincy Jones would love this. Roundup, summarization. I love the OPZ. It exceeded my expectations and then some. Believe it or not, I like it even more than the OP1. It may look like the OP1 is a more powerful, bigger brother, but this packs most of the functions. And, I prefer the non-destructive editing and sequencing on it rather than permanently laying stuff down on the tape, even though the tape is very fun on the OP1. I mean, the combination of the two, the combo, would be the most extraordinarily amazing thing. I don't have my OP1 anymore. Teenage Engineering, please give me one. We cool like that. Even though it's limiting in some ways, like I said, you're not gonna go off writing a symphony orchestra piece on this. If your range is pretty broad, the likeliness that you're gonna make your OPZ beats on the OPZ is there, but it's also a very powerful way to lay down foundations for productions. You're on the train, on the toilet store, on the anywhere, making a drum pattern, a synthesizer riff, anything like that, and then just plugging it in by USB and keeping working on it on the computerization world. When you want to go mo virtuoso, that's the way you do it. They just released another update last week with a few nice little touch-ups that I'm gonna check out. Hopefully they'll keep updating it in the future with even more powerful releases. Please take these small critiques in the video to heart, because it would make it such much more powerful if you have a solution like that for it. If you like my shit, please consider supporting me on Patreon. Make sure you join the Black Hole forums on Discord, because that's where the beat challenges happen, where all the cool people are at. Thank you for watching my videos, everything like that, you know what I'm saying? Okay, bye-bye.
Okay. Everybody, if you don't have subscribed yet and ring the bell, you should do that. It will make me much more cooler, but also you a little bit more cooler. So alright, do it, pay me.